Hello, everybody out there, star seeds, regular people, whatever you want to call yourselves. Um, Psychic Empath Raven Willow here. I have a special guest today. We've got Elmira on the channel, and she helps people get through breakups. And let's just face it, we've all been there. It's painful, it's a struggle, it's hard to let go of patterns and that person being in your life and just the different things that happen within a breakup. Hopefully, they're not traumatic and traumatic situations, but that happens too. So, she's going to let us know how she helps people heal from this and all of the modalities that she uses. So, we're going to get all of her business info and how you guys can reach out to her and get help with these things? Do you do it specifically online or is it live or both?
It is online.
Online.
Everything is online.
Okay.
So I've hosted Get Over Your Ex workshops for people where we get together and use movement, music, and massage to move on, to just
Yeah.
move on past that relationship.
Okay. So she does a lot of online stuff just like I do. So that's awesome. That makes it very easy for you guys to reach out to her. And I will make sure and put all of her contact information in the description of this video so that you can reach out to her specifically. So I will make sure and do that. But let's get into it. So, somebody goes through a breakup, they're obviously going through a very emotional, troubling time. What's the first thing that you focus on to help them?
Well, the I would say the first thing that needs to be focused on is them.
Yeah.
The focus needs, I'm big on self-care, I'm big on self-love. As a trained massage therapist, I saw the importance of taking care of your body, taking care of yourself first, and what the emotions from the heartbreak, the emotions from the breakup can do to the body. It can lead to shoulder pain, heart pain. I've experienced that personally and with clients. And
Mhm.
so the first step is to put the focus back on you. Because I
Yeah.
have a lot of people, as a matter of fact, I was talking to someone yesterday and he was explaining most people have this feeling they want to get back with the ex after the breakup happens. That's their initial thought, their initial feeling because of the grief and the shock. There's this thing of, how can I continue my life? Like my world is shattered. So the first thing I teach clients is to put the focus back on you. And I have a quote: your breakup is your breakthrough. And you can't see it as your breakthrough if you're constantly focused on the past. You're constantly focused on the ex. What would happen if we get back together? I'm stalking his
Right.
social media because
Yeah.
that was me for many years. That's how I know this so well. I went
Yeah.
through a breakup of my own years ago, and it led to me loving myself. I had to move to a new state. Clear, it was 700 miles away. I moved from Virginia to Tennessee, did it solo with no place to live, no job, because
Just
I
went.
was I was
Okay.
that heartbroken. Yeah, it was something else, but I had to, and this is why I teach this, put the focus back on you because it's what I did. I had to
Yeah.
put the focus back on me and not on him.
So do you feel like within even your own relationship, and you can get as personal or just say you don't want to talk about it, whatever. Um, do you feel like people take too much away from themselves in relationships and that's why it's so hard to get back to yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. I see it time and time again. That's why I'm a huge proponent for self-care. I had this moniker, self-care boss. You
Hmm.
have to be in charge of your self-care, whether you are in the relationship or outside of the relationship. I saw it with myself when I lived with this particular ex I'm speaking of. I
Yeah.
was putting so much energy and time into him. I wasn't really carving out what I specifically needed to optimize my life.
Yeah.
Even though I was still doing my workouts, I was still doing what I needed to do. I wasn't conscious. I wasn't
Yeah.
conscious that
Yep.
the neglect, it was self neglect, really, when
Yeah.
I think about it. And we do that in relationships because we fight for the success of the relationship and not for the success of ourselves. And what ends
Yeah.
up happening is we lose ourselves. And
Yeah.
you should be doing both at the same time. They
Yeah.
both can happen at the same time because we have this thought like, I either go for, with my partner and make this relationship work, or I go for my own pursuits. No, you can do both. You can
Yeah.
care for yourself and the relationship at the same time. And many of us have that belief that we can't do both. And it's what leads to us neglecting ourselves.
Yeah. And I've just as a woman, um, and I'm in my 50s, and I've been married once, and I will never get married again. If I ever choose
Really?
to get married again, it'll just be for like ceremony fact, not for like a government piece of paper. But I mean, I've dated people since I've been divorced, which was like clear back in my early 30s. But unless I find my equal in my life, I just don't even have room or space in my energy field in anything to even go there. I don't want to date. I don't want, like, I hate the fakeness of dating. Like, it's just not my world. And it's so, like, it sounds really kind of silly, but to me, like my equal, my partner will just show up in my life because they're supposed to be in my life. So I've been like shamed and almost made to feel like something is wrong with me because I have been single this long. And it's like, I don't want the drama. I don't want the stress. I don't need this. Like, I've got crap to do. I have a life to live. I'm building a life for myself. And, like, yeah. So I get that a lot too, just for being single as a woman.
And to
It's,
me, that's fine, Raven, for you to be single. It depends on what have you chosen. Because
yeah,
if you truly desire to be in partnership, in romantic relationship with someone, that's what you would go after. But you
yeah,
make a choice like, I don't want to deal with this. And it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's like if that person shows up, then they show up. If they don't, I'm perfectly fine just
Mhm.
doing my thing. So I find that just that like, if a male is single, like he's a bachelor, it's like, oh, but if a female is single for this long, oh, there must be something wrong with her,
But it's
So
not. And let me tell you this, because you're making me, as you tell this story, you're reminding me of my aunts, my great aunts. I lived next to them growing up. Well, it was a set of three of them. We kind of called them the Golden Girls, like that show, because
that's awesome.
they lived in the house together. They were all single. One
Yeah,
of them had been previously married, like you, but the other two, they never married.
yeah,
I never thought anything different of it because I would go over there and sew with one of them and we'd watch soap operas during the summer. I'd
yeah,
be, stitching my dress and entering it in the county fair. But there was nothing let me tell you though, all three of them, well, one of them lived over to be over 100. The other ones were in their 90s when they, so there's something to
Something to that.
not be.
Yeah. It just seems like any time that I've opened the door, which I've grown a lot in life, obviously, by now, but it seems like every time I've opened the door to dating, it's just like the shitstorm comes flowing through the door, and I'm instantly like, get out, get out, get out. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way. Just get out, like immediately. Like I have no space, headspace, emotional space, spiritual space for like I'm like heterosexual, so I'm pointing this at men, and I'm not saying all men
Yeah.
are like this, but I just have no space for that male like dominance and chaos and insecurities and all of these things that
Well,
they try to bring to me.
and this could come from, because this is something I assist clients with too, understanding what's the framework for those feelings? What's the
Yeah,
framework for your perception of dating per se?
yeah,
Because you mentioned you'd rather just meet someone while you're living life, you
yeah,
know? So what that says to me is you don't necessarily want to go through all the drama or the baggage or whatever, and you
nope,
don't have to. But
yeah,
then you can also reframe that and say, okay, dating is wonderful. Not that you have to go out and pursue it right now, but
yeah,
look at it in a more positive light. Because
yeah,
even when you do meet this person who walks into your life,
hmm, yeah,
it you still have to date them. You still have
yes,
to connect with them. I That's what I can determine dating. It's not just a selection process. You still have to date that person, that partner you're linked with.
yeah, and of course then I get labeled a lot as like the bitch by guys because I'm just like, no,
Why?
I'm like, no, like you're not, no, like if because I'm a very 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 strong empath, so I can read people in a second, and like if anybody's like trying to like flirt or whatever and put, I'm just like, nope, and I'm like very blunt, and then so, then I get looked at as a bitch, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna keep wasting my time on this conversation. I can feel your vibes all out, dude. Like, no. So, yeah. So I, I, it's, I probably have a bit of a tainted, and I try to not always just say men because not all men are like this,
And it's
obviously,
not. It's not.
but like it seems like there's just like 99% of guys that I would just be like, nope, nope. And that just tiny percent, it's like, where are you? Where are you?
But you'll find them, you'll attract them, and it's something we're discussing. I've teamed up with one of my colleagues. She's a dating and relationship coach, and we're doing a love vision board on January 31st for this reason,
Okay.
to help people really target and focus on what is it you want for love.
Yeah.
Because we have to see it, we have to,
Yeah.
because what ends up happening, we were having this discussion earlier today, was what ends up happening is we lose hope, or we lose inspiration. Like you said, there's 90% of the men I meet want to call me a bitch, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And
but where's the
like,
one that
yeah.
I desire? Where's the one that I desire? You have to put the vision. You have to make it a visual.
Yeah.
You have to
And
do
I do
something
have
like
like that vision and that feeling of who that person is
that.
and
Mhm.
how the relationship would be and how it would feel and all of those things. And so like that's that's what I'm waiting for. And if I don't have it, then I'm like not gonna waste my time because
I agree.
everybody has a certain way that they need to be loved, and it's different for everybody. And so yeah, and I've never really been much of a dater anyway. I'm a Libra. We kind of like just like we're social butterflies, but at the same time, I'm such a big empath, so that like is like the opposite of it. But I've never been like a dater. I can't like go out with like 5, 10 people and be like kissing on all of them. Like that's just never been my
That's
personality.
not your,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I've never been a good dater anyway, I guess. But yeah. So and you go at do you do so you do all of your work online now. Do you do still do massage and things like that for people that are going through this?
I do. And here's what I do with the massage. I teach self massage because it all goes
Okay.
back to you.
Yeah.
Because when you what ends up happening when you go to a massage therapist, you've been through the breakup, you're under the care of that therapist. But what are you
Yeah.
doing for yourself when you leave that spa, when you leave that salon? I'm
Right.
teaching you ways to soothe your body, different acupressure points, different things you can do for your shoulders, various techniques. Touch is so important. You'd be surprised, or may you may not be surprised, in the audience listening too. Many of us do not touch ourselves. And
Yeah.
we often see it as like a sexual thing, but I don't necessarily see it as sexual. It's
No, it's not.
sensual.
It's sensual. Yes.
It's activating those senses. So if you've
Yes.
been through heartbreak, you need to feel love. And
Yes.
what's one way you can do it? You can give it to yourself. Like touch your
Yes.
arm, rub, caress yourself,
Yes.
hug yourself. So I teach all of these things I learned in my career as a massage therapist. I teach it to you. All the things I know about the anatomy, like the heart is on the left side of the body, and working on those things, those particular points, those particular like stretches even help. So
Yeah.
I no longer do hands on with the client, but you can do massage virtually because a lot of people are wondering,
Yeah.
how does this work? How do you teach people how to soothe themselves? Because that's the
Yeah.
reason we have difficulty moving on
Yeah.
past the ex, because of that
Yeah.
deprivation of touch.
Yeah.
You were
It
always there to hug, have sex, kiss, all of that. What if you could give some of that back to yourself? Because you
yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
Your skin, your
Yeah.
cells, your blood, everything needs that touch.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if it just comes from a friend, because like I mean, you don't know a lot of my backstory. We haven't known each other that long, but I lost my mom last year, and it wasn't bad enough that I lost my mom. I had to literally cancel everyone out of my life because
Mm.
nobody showed up for me. So I've been going through like, sorry, I'm an empath. I cry a lot.
It's okay. We
um,
want you to cry.
so
I want
I've
you.
been going through like this self healing process and moving on and like just when I say that I've gotten rid of all of those people, and I didn't do it out of anger. Like I still want the best for
Mm-hmm.
them. I didn't, nothing like that. But I'm just like, you're not allowed in my life anymore. Um, so it just got like compounded and compounded and compounded with like more and more and more trauma on top of the trauma of having to literally kill my mom because I was putting her to rest on morphine. She was on home hospice with me, and just all these traumas that added up to it. So like I even stopped. like working with clients and doing everything because I was a wreck and I knew
Mm-hmm.
I was a wreck and I had to get back to myself. And so you know, still going through that process and clearing things and figuring out things and making sure that I get back to my like best, most powerful self. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it can be very painful and very triggering at times. And like I tell my clients when I work with them, um, which I do something completely different than you do, but I I tell them like you have to be willing to step into that pain and face it and acknowledge it and then clear it. Because if you're afraid to step into the pain, you're never gonna clear it. You're never gonna get over it. And it's just going to
Yeah.
keep causing illnesses and different things that happen within your body physically that's having a reaction to this stress that you're holding on to and not wanting to deal with, kind of
Yeah, and
thing.
I call what you're detailing the power of awareness. When
Yeah.
I would teach my 2 day Get Over Your Ex workshop, the first day focused on the power of awareness. You
Hmm.
got to be aware of the pain. You got to feel the pain. You got to know where it is. Is it
Yeah.
in your low back? Do you feel it in your chest? Are you
Yeah.
getting headaches? Do
Yeah.
you have hives? I mean, what is really going on with you?
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of hives, like
Oh,
4 days
yeah, you
ago,
told me. Yeah, you
oh, you
told
should
me
have seen
about.
my face. I looked like the elephant man when I have like stress and emotional things going on, and I've been going through a clearing process like I told you, but it was horrible. So sorry I had to cancel last time, but I
That's
couldn't even
okay.
see. I couldn't open my eyes. I get inflammatory responses when something is going on with me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I think a lot of people don't even recognize that. Like they'll just understand that they're not feeling well in some way and then they'll run off to the doctor, but they're not really understanding
No,
that it's
no.
something that they're holding within them that they're not facing. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what we have to be aware of. And I have this statement too, you are your own doctor.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is you, just like with what you experienced last week with you were high stress and during all this clearing and you notice the hives, you're like, oh, this is just a representation of what I'm going through emotionally.
Yeah.
As our own doctor, we have to be aware of that.
Yeah.
But if you're not conscious of your own body or what happens to your own body during breakup, during a heartbreak, during grief, like you
Hmm.
mentioned with your mother, you won't know.
Yeah.
You'll just get, like you said, go to the hospital. Oh, I need meds for my heartburn.
Yeah.
Literally, your heartburn is connected to your heart pain. You
Yeah.
don't need medicine. You just
Yeah.
need to resolve whatever is
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. I did have to go to the hospital and get some steroids and things, which I hate taking, but it was just getting worse and worse. So I
Yeah.
did have to relent and like go to the doctor, but I'm like at the same time, I'm still going into like deep meditation and going into like I call it the underworld or the darkness and like facing what is there and what I need to like clear because I know that's exactly why it's happening.
Mhm.
But yeah. So that was that was a big thing and we had to cancel our podcast because of my hives. So but yeah, so we're here
And
today.
that's what I tell people all the time when it comes to moving on and getting over your ex. We can have these high expectations for life. It was supposed to happen this way. Nothing was
Yeah.
supposed to get in the way. We were
Yeah.
supposed to stay together till the end. There was not supposed to be a divorce. Whatever we say,
Yeah.
but the reality is breakups happen,
Yeah.
things end, but how are
Yeah.
you going to respond?
Well, and people change too. Like,
Yes.
especially if you got together with somebody when you were like fairly young, the older you get, you change. And so sometimes you're going this way and then they're going that way, and that's just life. That's just their life evolving and your life evolving. And so like unless I've just gone out with like a big jerk, I'm pretty much friends with anybody I've ever dated, and they're just a friend now. But um, but yeah, I think that. Do you think it's like trying to control the situation too much instead of life just ebb and flow sometimes?
Yeah, you do want there to be some ebb and flow in life. However, this is where the self-care, which I teach, comes so much into play. Because let's say you've been with your partner for 15 years, 10 years, whatever,
Mhm.
and you're taking care of yourself and he's taking care of himself, there's some conversation or there's something before a break where you're discussing which path you're on. What ends up happening with a lot of people, because they are so neglectful of themselves, they're just going their own way and the partner's going their own way because they don't love themselves enough to have that deep conversation with the partner about, hey, when was the last time we did this? When was the last
Yeah,
time we connected on our vision? When
yeah,
was the last time we said, what are our plans for this year? Because we assume, and that's why you can't do too much of the ebb and flow when it comes to relationships. Even with the relationship with yourself, you got to have
hmm,
some structure.
yeah,
I call it my OCD method. Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
You got to have order, consistency, and discipline.
okay, yeah. And I mean, they always say like marriage isn't easy, or even if you're not married, but you're basically married, you're living together, you're living your lives together. Um, like I just don't feel like love should be that hard.
And it's not.
Yeah.
We make it that way because it starts with our beliefs too.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
starts with, if I tell myself, because of what we listen to on a wide society basis, relationships are hard, marriage is hard, this is challenging, what if I go through a breakup,
Yeah.
that's at the forefront of my mind, so I can cause that.
Yeah.
I can cause that to happen. I can cause my relationship to be hard. I'm a living testament to this, me and my boyfriend now, because I did the work, because I
Yeah.
did the healing work, because I put the focus back on myself. I apply the OCD method on a
Yeah.
weekly, daily, whatever basis. It's not challenging
Yeah.
our relationship. And this not to say we don't have things we don't agree on. He's not me and I'm not him.
Yeah.
However, it's ease and flow. It really is ease and flow because of both of us are focused on our own pursuits. We have that. And then
Yeah.
whatever we can do together, we can pursue together.
Yeah. And when you like I talk to my clients a ton about knowing yourself, loving yourself, putting yourself first. Like, even when you have kids, you have to
Mm-hmm.
put yourself first so that you can take care of everybody else. And, like, do you feel like you get a lot of clients that just don't have that self love, and then they get in relationships and they just have no business being in a relationship? They need to focus on themselves.
Yes and no, because the clients do have the self love. They just need to reactivate it, is
Okay.
what I've seen with people. It's not oh, I've always neglected myself, I don't know what to do. They possess it. It's just they've allowed the relationship to take over, to take precedence, to take priority. And as I mentioned before, you can do both.
Yeah.
You can have it all. You
Yeah.
don't need to give your all, and now you don't have any time to do what you want to do. You have to always be focused on you.
Yeah.
And it's not even because I used to have this thought before self-care, self-love was a priority. Oh, I'm going to upset my partner if I decide to do whatever. If I
Hmm.
decide to go on this trip by myself, prime example. Last year, me and my boyfriend spent Christmas together. We didn't do that this year because I said I want to go see my family who's out of state. And I did that. And then he went to go see his family because I put myself first and didn't just say, oh, I got to go wherever he goes. No, if I
Yeah.
decided to see my family because I hadn't seen them in 2 years, why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
It's a lot of people who discount their ideas or dreams, things they want to do
Hmm.
for the sake of the partner or for the sake of the relationship. And you should never do that. You
Yeah.
should, because if it needs to be a compromise or if it
Yeah.
needs to be a discussion, do we have time to do this thing
Yeah.
you want to do?
Yeah.
Then talk about it instead of just hiding, continuing to hide and bury your wishes and desire years after years. That builds resentment. Now the relationship is over and it didn't need to be over. I could have just told him, I want to go to Christmas with my family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people can't
Uh,
even have that, can't even do that.
What do you think about um people that try to make a relationship work as long as possible just because there's kids involved?
Oh, I mean, I can't speak to that specifically. But I will answer. I don't have any children. I do have nephews and a niece, but as not being a parent myself,
Yeah,
but
I'm not a
I will
parent either,
say,
so
yeah, I will say that's a no because the children, and I've heard this from many other experts, I've witnessed it, like looking at my sister, my brother who has children. They're both, well, my sister split from her children's father, but they both operate in the mode of what's best for the children because the children know. The children
yeah.
already know.
Yeah,
So
kids
why am
feel everything.
I? Yeah, they feel like you talk about being an empath. They're empaths, like they're
Yeah.
empathic to the hilt. They
Yeah.
know that mama and daddy don't like each other, and I'm 14. They haven't been liking each other since I was 7. So
Yeah.
these 7 long years, I've been dealing with whatever back and forth, whether they speak it or not, I can feel it. So
Yeah.
for me, that's a no-go. If you know the relationship is over, it has no fruit, it's not producing any fruit. Why are
Yeah.
you there?
Yeah. I've always just thought that, known that. I'm like, the kids know everything that's going on, whether you try to hide it from them or not. So, yeah. And I think that makes it worse on kids because they're kind of put in the middle of this like tension between these two people that has nothing to do with them. But, but nobody's talking about it and nobody's saying why it's happening. And so I feel bad for the kids that feel like they're like stuck in the middle of this like crazy tension type
Yeah, just
situation.
crazy mess. And what I've seen with some people I've worked with is they want to stay attached because of the children too. Let's
Yeah.
say they've broken up, but there's still reason, oh, I got to be there every day because we share children. No, you do not. There's a way to do this relationship, co-parenting, without feeling you need to still act like you're in partnership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you doing this? You're
Yeah.
only hurting yourself even more.
Yeah. And the kids even.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
children, right.
I mean, divorce is hard on kids too, but like at least at least if there's two mature people, then it that can at least acknowledge we still care about each other and love each other and we're going to be there as a team for our family and our kids, then that makes it a whole lot better, obviously, because there's some people that
Yeah.
just can't get along. But um yeah. So do you work with anybody that's gone through like an abusive type relationship? You haven't? Okay.
I mean, they may mention a little bit of abuse, like mental or emotional, but I will say most of the conversations I have with people are not about the abuse per se, or not specifically about the trauma. They're ready to move on. They're
Okay.
like, I'm ready to, yeah, we may have discussions of, oh, I might want to get back with him and this may come up, but they're not so focused on the traumatic aspect of it. Because there was a client I'm thinking about now that you asked that question. We did have some lengthy conversations about the abuse, but the way I frame when I'm working one on one, let's say we have a session,
Mhm.
I don't put the attention on that. I put the attention on the light, the
Yeah.
possibility. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things this particular client told me, because she was going through therapy and she
Yeah.
was doing other modalities and things. She was like, Elmira, I really appreciate, being able to talk with you and see you, because
Yeah.
you've been the first person to help me see the light.
Yeah.
I can see where I'm going now, instead of belaboring the point about what my husband did to me and why I can't, because she was separated from her children too.
Yeah.
Like they were in another, I think, state or country. It was some crazy mess going on.
Yeah.
The dad had, it was bad.
Yeah. Like that's I help people through all kinds of trauma and take them through their universal lives and do quantum meditation and Reiki healing and all of
Mm-hmm.
those things. And so a lot of emotions obviously come up, but my goal is like the same as your goal is let's find you and let's
Right.
love you and get that love back inside of you for sure. So like I think in anybody that's in the healing field, that's like the ultimate goal. Like people need to love each other, need to love
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah. Before they can love each other, someone else, or try to take care of someone else. Yeah. So it's it can get pretty intense in some of my sessions for people,
Mm-hmm.
and I just because I can read people really well, I know when to bring them out of it and have like I normally have like some apple cider or if they don't like that, at least water, like something from the earth to like
Mm-hmm.
bring them back down and like
Ground
center
them.
them and yeah. So, um have you ever had like a session that just got really intense like that where you're like we need to pull out of this for a minute here?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. I haven't, because and I say that I go back to the people know when they come to me. They gotta be
Yeah.
ready to, and I'm not actively doing it right now, but I called my 6 week program a boot camp, a get over your ex boot camp.
Yeah.
So what that implies is you got to be ready to get your shit together.
Yeah.
Like, so they know when they come to me, it's almost like going to a personal trainer. There's
Yeah.
no whining, there's no none of it. They know
Yeah.
when they come see Elmira what they're getting into.
Yeah.
They got to be ready to really move on. So they've gotten past the stage
Yeah.
of all of this. And I'm not going to go there with them anyway,
Yeah.
because what I teach is moving on and loving yourself. And if I spend too much time sort of like in the hole or too focused on the grief and the crying and the sadness, we're not going to get the results that we need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like,
I haven't had to deal with a lot of, just because the way I'm set up, the
yeah.
way my intention.
Yeah. That's the way that I run my 5-step program
Mm,
for people. It starts with an Akashic Records reading so that I know who you are, and then we do deep Reiki work, and then we get into quantum meditation and quantum jumping and dealing with um because it the things that I practice, your energy or your soul, whatever you prefer to call it, that is your information center. That is your knowledge center. Your brain is here to keep this bio body alive and functioning. And yes, it has thoughts and can process thoughts and learn things, but you need to like push all of that knowledge down through all of your energy, and it sticks with your energy throughout all of the lives that you lived. So,
mm,
like, even if you don't believe in past lives or whoever's listening, that's okay. But it sticks with you, and so there's still things that people need to deal with and clear. But I've actually like once people sign up, I let them know like this is going to be deep work. This is going to be intensive work. The end goal is to get you to yourself and your true self so that you know all of your gifts that you have and all that you can offer to the world and the powerful person that you are. And if you're not willing to dive in and do this, then like I don't even let them pay for the classes. I don't
yeah.
even let them sign up because I'm like, you're not ready to go there. So yeah, I've definitely turned people away. Have you had to turn people away for anything?
Not necessarily turn people away, but initially I may just feel they're not a
Jealous?
good fit for something or they're not ready to do, and it's okay. I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't see it as turning them away, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
there's a lot
well,
of
yeah, I
what I
mean, that was
do.
kind of harsh sounding. It's more like you're not ready for this yet, like, but I'm
Yeah,
here
and
when you
they
are ready. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Because most of what I do is love and compassion. And it's one of the modalities. I mentioned it earlier, compassion key.
Yeah.
It's a tool that I became certified in where you show yourself compassion. It's an energy healing mechanism. And through that session, you send love and compassion to a wounded part of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes challenging for people because we've been taught to hate ourselves or stay. This is why I'm saying again, stay so focused on the trauma, the abuse. Oh, so and so did this to me. The ex did this to me. No. How
Yeah.
can you unravel that? How can you show yourself compassion and pull yourself out of that situation?
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do. You gotta send yourself that love and energy, and also
Yeah.
send it to your ex too. Be willing
Yeah.
to. I call it
Yeah.
blessing your ex.
Yeah. Yeah. I never like anybody that I'm dealing with, whether it's in the spiritual world or a living human or anything that's in like the negative space. Like I had to get rid of my stepfather after he passed away. He kept coming back to the house and like attacking my mother and me.
What?
And um so when I finally just decided like enough is enough, I called in for I call them the hillbilly gang because I'm half from West Virginia, but my uncles, my father, like the boys, and he showed up and I asked them, I'm like, hold him here. because all of these
Mm.
people are passed on. And I'm like, hold him here. And I called in for his guides and I said, you need to take him to a place where he can heal. I am releasing him with like love and forgiveness for all that he has done to me and to my mother. And you need to take him to a place where he can heal. Because if I did that in anger, then that's just going to kick back on me because I'm doing it with
True.
anger. Yeah.
And
So,
what ended up happening with it? Because you said stepfather.
yeah,
That was
stepfather.
what happened.
Oh, he was a horrible person. Horrible, horrible person. Um, by the time my mom died last year, she literally looked like she had crawled out of a Jewish concentration camp. Lived in a state of 24/7 fear. I mean, this was like 32, 34 years or something of just nonstop abuse. He was a very bad man, and um, and so he kept, even though I put protections around my house all the time, he kept getting in, and I I would get reactive to him because in my mind it is funny, it's a weird situation because I knew like I could mess him up royally if I
Hmm.
wanted to because I know how powerful I am. And but I'm like, no, you're not going to take that route. You're going to send him off somewhere where he can get the help that he needs because he acted like that towards somebody else because it was done to him. And that's not an excuse, but I know it was his mother just because I can see things past things. I see a lot of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But his mother, I picked up on his mother, and she was like, um, had a lot of mental situations going on and just was not a good mother. And so he had a lot of issues with women in general. So he was pretty much a narcissist that was borderlining on like sociopath, and then like towards more and more towards the end of his life went was like going more and more like sociopath. So like, and because I knew that something had happened to him, I'm like, he needs to go and get healed
Yeah.
because I don't want him to stay in this state and like be stuck in this place. Like, move him on and get him where he needs to go. And then while I had all of my people like holding him there, I don't know, it was his person that was supposed to take him, but it was like this big, burly, beefy, huge dude that just
Mm.
came in and just like and just grabbed him and just ran off with him. And it's like I knew in that instant like that's exactly who needed to come and get him because that was more of an authority figure over him that he wouldn't fight, that he would listen
Yeah.
to. So like that's how I had to clear that. But it's like even if it's like in relationships, like you can't leave things and hold on to that anger or the
Oh,
fear
you,
because it only
yeah.
hurts you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there
You
has to
can't. And
be
that's why, yeah, that's
forgiveness.
why I'm so focused on the love and the compassion and
Yeah.
highlighting that. Because sometimes people will come to me wanting to just talk. You mentioned narcissism. Oh,
Yeah.
my ex was a narcissist and da 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 da. Want to go on a whole diatribe. We're not here for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about that, go to your therapist or something
Yeah.
like what I do. We want to show love to yourself. We want to
Yeah.
show compassion to yourself.
Yeah.
Get you the healing that you need. It's why I wrote the book. Healing is for warriors, not wimps. Because
Is
much
this
like that
is this
story you told
published?
about,
Can people find it?
It's a ebook. It's on my Instagram. It's on um my links and my Facebook and everything.
Okay. I'll get all those links from you so people can get this
Yeah.
book. Okay. So go on. Go on about your book.
Yeah, I was just saying the book, Healing is for Warriors, Not Wimps. The
Yeah.
title came to me because that's just what it is. When we decide to heal, when we decide to move on from a bad relationship and refocus on ourselves, it's for the warrior. You have to see
Yeah.
yourself as a soldier. It's
Yeah.
not for the person who just wanted to lie down and give up.
Yeah.
You are a warrior. So in the
Yeah.
book, I go through different stories from my life and I share video tips and all kinds of stuff is in the back of the book, but it's just inspiration for your spiritual journey and for your own personal healing. Because when you decide to heal, when you decide to break free, like you were mentioning stepfather, all this other stuff going on in your life, when you
Yeah.
decide to break free from that, other people around you may judge you.
Yeah.
That makes you more of a warrior
Yeah.
because you're willing to stand up. You're willing to say, I want something different. I want
Yeah.
something new. I'm not going to stick around and deal with this crap. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, why?
Exactly.
You're a
Yeah.
warrior.
I was just like, no more, no more. I'm done with these shenanigans. Yeah. And because my mom was so weak in the first place, it was a lot to protect her as well. And she didn't even know that that happened or any I never mentioned it to her. I just took care of it and got rid
Yeah.
of him. So, yeah, but it like people should understand that forgiving someone is literally just taking that burden off of you and saying, that's your shit, man. That's not mine."
And it is, it ain't
Yeah.
got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Because the
So,
weight, like when you release that weight, you're
mhm,
letting, going back to what I said about the self soothing and your self massage,
yeah.
many times you can feel that weight on you because you have not forgiven,
Yeah.
you have not resolved, you
Yeah.
have not made a decision. I want to be the warrior, I want to heal. Healing is for
Yeah.
warriors again.
Yeah.
So you have to do things to lift that weight off of you. And you will
Yeah.
feel lighter. You'll feel lighter in your body. Like me, I lost weight.
Yeah.
I had to
I
go
did
on
too
because
after
I
he
had gained
died.
weight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it wasn't because I was like plowing down Big Macs all the time. It was just because of all of the stress that he was putting us all through.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's that's another thing, like shaming people's bodies. It's like one, you have no idea what somebody else's life is like. You have no idea what they're going through. And that's yeah, that's just wrong. And
Mhm.
people can gain weight for many different reasons that has nothing to do with food consumption. So,
Truly,
yeah.
truly, because some of that's emotional, it's
Mhm.
spiritual, whatever
Yeah.
they've been through. Somebody can simply gain weight because they don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
Like they can physically put on weight because they
Yeah.
don't want anybody to look at them. And you may
Yeah.
think that they're bigger. Everybody's going to look at them. But no, they're not. They're going to be ignored because
Yeah.
they're obese or they have on a little bit of extra weight. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to pay attention. And that's what I
Yeah.
wanted. I didn't
Yeah.
want people to pay attention. So I
Yeah.
put on
We were
subconsciously.
we were talking in my podcast that I did with my other partner earlier today. Um, it was a lot about manifesting, but getting abundance from the universe. Like the universe wants you to have abundance of health and money and, a life and the things that you want to do. And so you have to train your mind to put yourself in that mindset of you're already there. Even if it's
Yes.
not happening right this second, you're already there and you can picture it and you can visualize it and like because the universe listens to all of your thought processes. So
Mhm.
if you're in a negative space, that's what it's going to hear. But if you're in a, I'm going on this journey, I have plenty of money to take care of myself, even though, like, maybe it's not happening right this second, like that will make it happen. And
It
so,
will.
yeah, like that's probably part of the healing journey for relationships too,
It
is
is, and I'll give
putting
you
it
an
out there.
example of that, Raven. Like when I broke up with my ex and I decided to move clear to another state, I didn't have all. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to live, but I had direction. I
Mhm.
had a feeling of abundance. I had a feeling everything was going to be okay in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was because I made it that way.
Yeah.
I created it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I literally created it. And one example of that creation is I rented an apartment there without a job. The lady, all she's like, "Oh, Elmira, just give me," and that never happened for me. Like they want to see this statement and that statement. You got to have proof of
Yeah.
this. She's like, "Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
We'll just sign the lease."
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about today. It's like every single person on this earth has the ability to create a reality that they need in their life if they just stay focused on it in their head. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and of course, then we brought up all the fires that are burning all over the world, not just California, like the whole freaking world is on fire. And, you know, I've worked in the medical field as well. So, like, I know very well that if you stay in a positive mindset, it will help you heal faster. It will help you get through things faster and understand things faster. If you take time to meditate and just have quiet time where you're just listening, like meditation can be many different things. Sometimes I listen to frequencies, sometimes I just go out in nature because
same
I love
here.
nature. Sometimes I paint, sometimes I draw, but just to have that quiet time in your head to just listen to what the universe is telling you or what God's telling you, whatever you believe in, you need that so that you can get clarity and help you clear what's going on.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I do every morning. Every
Yeah.
morning I'm meditating before I get up. And then I
Yeah.
might meditate throughout the day. It
Yeah.
just shows up in different forms. And I tell my clients as they're getting over the X, that's one of the tools as well,
Yeah.
is meditation. Because
Yeah.
how do you get in a space of determining what you want for yourself, how to get back to yourself? You need
Yeah.
that quiet time. You
Yeah.
need to sit down and determine and give focus energy to what does my life look like right now?
Yeah.
Meditation.
Yeah.
It it
Do you
it
do you
helps.
think it like harms people? Because I've known a lot of people that when they go through a breakup, they put themselves in like these incredibly busy situations where they're just constantly going, 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 doing, 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 doing. Do you think that's like can be harmful to somebody?
Because that's, to me, that's an avoidance mechanism.
Okay.
You're not really focused on the healing. We got to get back to the healing. We got to get back to you.
Yeah.
But if you're consistently, "Oh, I'm going to sign up for more hours at work," or,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, they give me the travel. Oh, I'm going to spend time with this person. Oh, I'm going to go." Here's the big one. Here's the big one. "I'm just going to go." They say the best way to get over one man is to get under another man.
Yeah, I've heard that
Get under,
before.
just start
Yeah.
dating.
To
That
start
don't
dating.
resolve nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you may feel good for the moment, but what you're doing is avoiding the healing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So you will never, you'll look back years later, months later, and you'll still be in the position of harboring resentment, being mad at yourself, being mad at the world, being mad at the ex. And you
Yeah.
can tell it. You can tell it in whatever you're producing.
Yeah.
You can tell, we
Yeah.
going back to the physical too. Is it showing up in your skin?
Yeah.
It will tell if you have healed, if you're,
Yeah.
or you're just doing this busy stuff to
Yeah.
try to to try to
Yeah.
escape from the grief.
Yeah. And I've just in some of the people that I've worked with, and I don't obviously specialize in relationships, but
Mm-hmm.
I've, because I could do intense Reiki on people, I can tell them what's going on in their body, like clear down to a cellular level and why it's happening. And, it always has to do with somebody else in some kind of capacity, whether it's a parent, a friend, a boyfriend, a husband, a your kid, whatever's going on. So, like, to get them to like recognize that these physical illnesses that you're experiencing can be resolved without going to a doctor and being like heavily medicated on all of these things is, and I'm not telling people not to go to the doctor. I'm not pretending to be a doctor or a psychiatrist here, but I just know that a lot of them can be resolved on your own just by confronting things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I noticed after my breakup, I had this dry spot around my lip. Like it was
Yeah.
literally right. It almost looked like I had vitiligo.
Yeah.
Like my skin was so, but I knew it was stress related because it
Mhm.
eventually went away. And
Yeah.
now, since then, every now and again, if I have some type of stress, I will see that spot
Yeah.
resurface. And that's my clue. Okay, Elmira, pay attention. What's going on?
Yeah.
But it's the body will give you signs.
Yeah. Like I even had, and I don't really talk about my clients unless they want me to air their readings. I'll put them on my channel, but I kind of treat it like HIPAA because they, it's
Mhm.
personal things to them. But like I even had one client where I flat out told him, um, and I felt bad because I don't like to like interfere or meddle in people's lives or tell them what to do with their life because it's their choice. But I was literally like, if you do not get away from your wife, you are going to have a heart attack. You need to go in and see a heart doctor right now. And at least he took my advice on going to see the heart doctor. And the cardiologist was like, "What the fuck?" And he was in trouble. Like he was like destined to have a fatal heart attack. And
Oh my.
like he did end up leaving his wife and getting out of the situation. Thank goodnessly, but like that was probably the only time I've been that completely blunt with somebody and saying this
You
person is
need to
going to
go
kill
now.
you. Yeah. So like, have you ever felt anything like that with people where like your health is like really in danger here, person?
Yeah, especially when I was doing massage. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, you need to go see somebody. Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't that dire, but I was able to feel certain things on their body. Like I can think of a client. This was first time ever massaging her, and she had this tattoo on her back, and I could feel this like energy around the tattoo. So I started questioning and asking her, what is the meaning of this to you?
Yeah.
What does this mean? And she started to go into, oh yeah, I got that because it was telling me to focus on myself and I have been neglecting myself. And so it's like my hands can guide to what needs to the healing that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And she did start doing more for herself, and she made some changes after that because
Yeah.
of what I felt in her body.
Yeah.
But some people can't because we may not be doing the self-soothing I
Mhm.
teach you to do.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in your body.
Yeah.
So I've definitely felt that stuff, and that's how I know it so well
Yeah.
because I've seen it, I've witnessed it.
I teach people to like scan their body from like
Mhm.
clear through the inside, like every single organ, every single cell, every single nerve. Just go through your whole body and scan it every day and like what's going on there so that you get familiar with your body and the patterns and the illnesses that can come up and those different things. So it's kind of the same except we're like going like internally kind of on a Reiki level, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's very important to understand your body and listen to it. You need to listen to what your body's telling you it needs for sure. Yeah. So what do you think is like in all of the sessions besides like getting love back for yourself and finding yourself, what's like the most common thing that comes up in your sessions, like either people's questions or common themes or what, things like that?
I think, oh, one is like, how long does it take? Like, how long will this take? Is like a
Yeah.
common thing. Because
Yeah.
people either they want it quick or it may have been they don't run into me until a year after the breakup, but they're still suffering in some kind of way.
Yeah.
So they're just inquiring, how long will this take? And I can't answer that. It's that
Yeah.
however long they decide for it to take,
Yeah.
because you have to decide and say, I'm done with this. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this anymore. Like for
Yeah.
me in my breakup, it took 7 years because I made it take 7 years. I was
Yeah.
still being friends with the ex and the social connected on social media and all the stuff I was doing, actively doing to stay attached to him.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the biggest question, them wondering, just like when a client would come to me for the massage. Oh, how
Yeah.
many sessions do I need? Can you fix me in one session? You
Yeah.
got to explain, okay, this is what it looks like. This is the prognosis. It's probably going to take a few sessions to get to this point, and you'll need this and that. But people want to know because there's this, as humans, I feel like we're always thinking about time.
Mhm.
Like, how much time is it going to take for this? Because even with death and breakups are death of a relationship,
Yeah.
thinking like, how long is it going to be? How much more time? How much more time do I have to wait till the divorce is final? Or how much
Yeah.
time is it going to be till I don't feel this way? We're always, oh, I can't wait for the weekend, or it's all time related. And for
Yeah.
me, we shouldn't just focus on the time. It should just be present. Just
Yeah.
worry about what's happening
What's
right
right
now
now? Yeah.
concerned that.
Yeah.
It's like the book, Elkhart told, The Power of Now. Like you gotta you
Yeah.
gotta focus on
You
now
gotta be in
because
the
I
present.
can't change it. Yeah, the present.
And I tell my clients all the time because I work with different worlds and different lifetimes and all of that. I'm like, time does not flow like it's past, present, and then future.
Exactly.
Like
It's
you
not
have
linear.
already lived the future, but you can change your future to what you want it to be. You've already lived your past, like it's interflowing and all the time throughout all of your lives. So, like, yeah, putting too much emphasis on like how much time is this going to take? And I even asked myself that, dealing with my mom's death and just like
Mm-hmm.
having the help of my friend that I do healing work with and healing circles and the podcast and things like it's like when am I gonna get joy back? When am I gonna feel like laughing again? When And so I was even doing that even though I know better. So I had to like pop myself out of that thought process
Yeah,
too.
because it's actually like this. There's no absolute, because you could wake up concerning your mom, you could wake up 10 years later, a rough day
Yeah.
from the grief. And
Yeah.
it's okay. But
Yeah.
you can't tell yourself, oh, that means I'm not over it yet. It's all everything
Yeah.
is crashing down. That's not the case. It's just the nature of life. As you
Yeah.
mentioned, time is cyclical.
Yeah.
So whatever you were feeling at one point can just come back around and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that was definitely something that even though I knew it, I still had to pull myself out of that thought process and be like, you will have joy again. You will laugh again. You will get back to yourself again.
Mhm.
You just have to
Yeah.
like trust and let yourself heal and take the time to let yourself heal. Like however much time that is and just let it be
Hmm.
however much time it is. So, yeah, that's a really hard that was a really hard concept for me to break at the time because I it's probably just because everything was just like trauma upon another
Right.
trauma
It
and
was
another
just
trauma, but
building.
yeah, but now I'm, now I'm
You
back
can't
and
live life.
working with clients and doing things, but I'm still taking it like step by step, like what I feel comfortable that I can do to help people. Like I'm never just going to jump
Hmm.
right back in and be like, "Let's go," and when I'm not ready. So, yeah, you have to take
Yeah.
time for yourself for sure. And then so when people contact you to set up sessions with you, like how does it go? What's the process?
Pretty much a lot of people may find me in a workshop that I hosted. So from that workshop, they'll book a consult call, and from that call, I'll let them know, okay, I feel like you need a compassion key session or you need to go through my 6 week boot camp. I just kind
Yeah.
of tailor it to whatever that person needs, because they're coming to me because they're ready. If they
Yeah.
found me in a workshop, it's like, get over your ex, and
Yeah.
they're they want to get some resolution. They want to look at their breakup in a positive light,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much how it works. They can book individual sessions or a group of sessions.
And do you start out with like talking or get right into like, the self-love and self-touching, self-care, meditation? Like, is there like a step process or is it just on an individual basis?
Well, if they're going through my boot camp, that's a step process, because each
Okay.
week is something different, where we focus on self massage is one week, and then they implement that for the next week. And we go over developing a unique self care plan for them. So that is structured, but if it's an individual session, not so much. I go based on what the person needs, and each person needs something different, because I know how to ask questions in a way to get to the root, so to speak. Like, what are you really dealing with? Like,
Yeah.
what led to the breakup? Like, where are you right now?
Yeah.
They can all seem the same on the surface,
Hmm.
but the actual cause is not the same for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it's all done online.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for people to know because you don't even need to leave your house, folks. It's all done online. It's so easy. I love that.
No, yeah, and I've had people all over the world. So that's the other beautiful thing. You don't
That's
have to be in
awesome.
my city. I don't have to
Yeah.
be in yours.
Yeah. That's awesome. So before I post this video, I want to just remind you to send me all your links and the link to your book, how people can contact you so that I can put it in the description. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, folks, this is all about Elmira today and her business and how she can help you guys get through these relationship problems and the breakups and just it's painful. It's painful and it's a process. And I do you think it's one last question. Do you think it's hard for people to let go because it's like a pattern in their life that that person's there, that they've been there for all this time and now it's like left this void because I don't know if I even want to call it a pattern, but like you're getting out of your comfort zone. It's pulling you out of that like comfort zone that you were in.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason many of us get into that comfort zone because we have not established some type of routine, some type of self-care routine. And look at it, some type of routine for ourselves. So we were dependent on the relationship,
Yeah,
dependent on the partner to do that for us. And that's where the comfort zone comes in because we're like, let's say if it's simply watching TV,
yeah,
but one of the things you really like to do is run.
yeah,
You've succumbed to just only watching TV with your partner and ignoring your running for the sake of the relationship.
yeah,
So now you're in a comfort zone of, oh, let's just watch TV.
yeah,
Knowing you really want to go run. Why
yeah.
haven't you run?
Okay.
So we
Yeah,
gotta it's just little, I'm telling you, it's that small. Because I had a client go through my boot camp. And one of the biggest things we worked on was establishing her a routine. Like she didn't have a morning routine, she had no night routine, and it was causing her to be late for work and all kinds of other mess. And it's no wonder you were wrapped up in a comfort zone with this ex. You have
yeah,
to think for yourself.
yeah, yeah. Gotcha. That makes total sense. Yeah.
Because that's
So,
what's end up happening. We give all, like if this water, for example,
Lindsay.
if I haven't made a commitment, look at the little baby.
I know.
If I
He's
haven't made a commitment
somebody's
to drink
somebody's
water,
outside and he won't stop barking.
oh, yeah, if I haven't made a commitment to myself to drink my water, because sometimes I'll do it with apple cider vinegar or chlorophyll. My mom
Yeah.
for me to drink this. I
Mhm.
told myself to drink this because I
Mhm.
know it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I know it refreshes me, it energizes me, it cleanses me, all of
Yeah.
that. Some
Yeah.
people can't do that own self discipline.
Yeah.
So they have to learn it. I have to teach it to them.
Yeah. That makes sense. Just I was thinking about self-discipline just in um people I teach English online
Yeah, you
while
mentioned
my
that
my
to me.
businesses are still taking off and growing. But I, I, the one kid, the one guy was in college and he was trying to take because you can take most of your classes online if it's just like your basics, not for
Mm-hmm.
your the degree part. But he wasn't ever signing into class. He wasn't ever doing his work. And I'm like,
What
if you're not
do?
self-disciplined enough to like do that for yourself, then you need to actually get out there and go to class because you don't have enough self-discipline. Like I work from home, I get up every morning, I do my job, like because I have that self-discipline, but some people just don't. So,
It requires it, and it's something innate within you, and it can be built.
yeah,
It can be built. Some people think, oh, it's just, I'm not as good as you, because they'll tell me, like, Elmira, you're just disciplined. You were born disciplined. Not true.
not, yeah.
Now, some of that is true, but
Well,
I
yeah, but
also built it.
you worked on yourself and built it just like I did. I was like, these are the things I want in life, and this is what I'm gonna have to do to get it, and this is what we're gonna do, and okay, off we're marching. And
Mhm.
I don't like miss a beat in that. I mean, obviously I did while I was like going through the whole last year after my whole mom thing,
But
but
that was
you know,
necessary. That was a
yeah,
necessary part of the journey. Remember, healing is for warriors.
yeah, yeah.
So, so
That was that's the one thing I always remind my clients is like I love that saying, healing is for warriors, because I always tell them like don't be afraid to confront the pain. Don't be afraid to just go there and dig in, because that's how you get out of it. Because if you don't, then it's just going to sit in your subconscious and it's going to just be messing with your
yeah,
body. And
snowball, all
yeah,
of that.
yeah. So this was completely illuminating. I love this podcast. And like everybody else that comes on, anytime you want to come back, if you have a certain topic you want to talk about, anything at all, like you're always welcome to come back. And to everybody out there in YouTube land where this is going to get posted, like and subscribe to my page. I know everybody says that, but I say it more not because I want more followers, but I want the people to get the messages that need to hear the messages. So share the messages with your friends, tell them about Elmira. I'll have all of her information for you guys. And this has been amazing. I'm so glad that we got to do this today. This was a great podcast. So thank you so
Yes,
much for coming on. It was great.
yes, thank you. And remember, everybody, you can turn your breakup into a breakthrough. It
Yeah.
just requires you doing the first step, put the attention back on you.
Yeah. Focus on you, you guys. I'm always saying that love yourself first. Yeah. All healers say that. So
It's true.
good to
And
say
we
good.
need the reminder, like,
Yeah. Like I need the everybody needs the reminder once in a while. Like, are you loving yourself? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you looking out after yourself? Yeah. So everybody keep spreading the love around. The world needs more love and not more tension. So just focus on the love. So I'm going to stop recording and say goodbye to you all for now. But this podcast will be posted for you guys by tomorrow. And we will definitely have Elmira on again because she's amazing.